Welcome, everybody. My name is Jackie Carlin. I'm the Community Education Director here at the Center for Health and Wellbeing. Joining me is Allison Harrell, Culinary Medicine Specialist, a registered dietitian, nutritionist.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
I ask every time. I think 2 years in, I do this by now. We also will be joined by Dr. Tara Moncman from Rothman Orthopedic. She's a very busy orthopedic surgeon and, as expected, is running a bit behind, but is on her way now. So when she gets here, I'll fully introduce her to everybody.
Yeah.
So this is one of our hybrid classes. So we've got an at-home audience. Hello, everybody at home. And we've got some folks here in the nutrition theater. Everybody has the recipe booklets here. And for the folks at home, I'm going to put it in the chat in just a couple minutes. You'll have the links to follow along with Allison today. This is a really fun class. It's Fuel Your Workouts. So whether you're out running marathons, whether you're working out once or twice a week, whether you're just getting started in your journey, this is going to be a class designed to give you confidence to appropriately nutrition yourself. I just made that phrase up. You know, it's like when people use summer as a verb.
Yeah.
But we're going to help you with your post and your pre-workouts and really feel strong and healthy. So how this is going to work is Allison is going to explain to you what she's making today. She's going to go through the steps. And when Dr. Moncman arrives, she's going to talk about the new medical benefits of it, the nutritional elements of it. And this is a very interactive class. So whether you're here in the theater, whether you're at home, ask questions of both of our experts, whether it's about, hey, what's that kitchen tool you're using? We were just talking about all the things I've added to my kitchen from attending Allison's classes. So ask her that, ask in the comments, and I will be your liaison here in the nutrition theater for the folks at home. And for everybody that registered today, so those folks here and those folks at home, we are recording this on Zoom. So everybody will get a link to the full video afterwards. So if you had a friend that couldn't attend or you want to rewatch something again at home, you guys will get the link to the video probably in about 48 hours. We'll get it sent out to you, hopefully sooner. So without much further ado, let's make sure our cell phones are on silent so we're not interrupting in here. And at the end of this class, both the folks that are online and here in person will all receive a survey. This is a great opportunity to let us know not only how you thought today's class went, what you learned from it, but the opportunity to tell us what cooking classes do you want to see in the future, whether it's very medical focused like this or cooking for a certain condition, disease, or lifestyle, or if it's, hey, you know, I've got Easter dinner coming up and I'm looking for something. I'm thinking ahead to next year because Allison and I are talking about January through April right now. Yeah. So really think ahead, and anything you've ever wanted to learn how to cook, that's a great opportunity to let us know, and we will do our best to program it. So without much further, without me going on, she's pointing out, this is our composting bowl. For those of you who see it, we at the Center for Health and Wellbeing are proud to partner with O-Town Composting. We direct about, I want to say 2,000 pounds a month away from landfills. So we send it to O-Town Composting, and anybody can sign up for it themselves. What happens is when you're a part of it, you send it to them and then you get, I forget how many pounds of dirt per year that you can either get back to yourself or you can donate that to the community, particularly helping with areas. I mean, I live in College Park and I've been walking through my neighborhood and people are turning their front yards into gardens and they say O-Town Composting is brought. So there's a lot you can do with it. So if you're interested in learning more, find me, but we really, it's one of our efforts here for sustainability and to really help keep Florida healthy.
Yes.
So I'm going to let Allison get started and let you guys know what we're going to learn today.
Yes. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Allison Harrell. I've been here probably about 2 years now, and I'm a registered dietitian. I have 25 years experience. I'm also a certified culinary medicine specialist because I believe that food is medicine. I like to go with a food first approach if possible. And I really enjoy coming into this teaching kitchen to show you the health benefits of different foods and how easy it is that you can make simple recipes at home. Today, we are going to be talking about fueling your workouts. And with that, it's kind of hard to say, okay, this is what you have to eat before every workout and what you have to eat after every workout, because everybody's at a different workout journey. Someone might be just getting started. Someone might be an ultra marathoner. Someone might run 100 miles, which one of the physicians that I've taught with does, with crazy. But and so your fuel is going to be completely different based on what activity you're having. So I'm just going to be giving you some general guidelines, and the physician that comes in will I don't know exactly what she's going to be speaking about, but she might expand a little bit more on that and have some more answers to some of those questions. I am going to be making today some nut butter chocolate chip breakfast cookies, energizing overnight oats, and chickpea salad sandwich with dried cranberries and apple. I need some hot water for my recipe because I'm going to be using a flax egg to make my cookies. So I'm just going to put this in the microwave. I didn't want to heat it up too soon or it would cool off. But has anyone ever heard of using a flax egg or a chia egg to make baking dishes? Okay, so you can use, if you're vegan or vegetarian or want to avoid eggs for whatever reason, there's other supplements or products that you can use in place of an egg. Flax egg is great. I love flax seeds and flax meal because it has omega-3 fatty acids in it. And so we're going to mix the flax meal with hot water to make the egg. We'll mix it together and then set it aside and let it congeal and get thicker. You also could do it with chia seeds, and you also could do it with the aquafaba, which is the brine in the garbanzo beans. And so this is really cool. So when you don't have say you don't have eggs or eggs are really expensive right now, right? Then you can use flaxseed meal, chia seeds, or the aquafaba from the chickpeas. And also to point out, if you buy flax seeds, you don't want to use the whole seed because it won't congeal. And if you ate just the whole seed, it's going to go right through your body and you're not going to get any of the nutritional benefit. So it really needs to be ground up. And if you make a mistake and buy the seeds like I did the other day, you can grind it up in your food processor or in a blender. So just be sure it's a meal. I like to keep mine in the refrigerator so that it doesn't go bad faster. So you can also keep it in the freezer as well. And flax meal is really good just to put on anything. Like last week we did an anti-inflammatory presentation and we had a cute little container that we kept on the countertop that you could just sprinkle in your food throughout the day, like in your yogurt, in your smoothie, on a cottage cheese plate over a salad. So it's a really good way to get some of those omega-3 fatty acids in there to help reduce inflammation. And that's important too when you're considering the workouts and stuff like that. Okay, so now I need to measure out how much hot water we're going to be using. We're going to be using I'm doubling the recipe. So if you're following along with the recipe book, I'm actually doubling the recipe. So I'm doing 6 tablespoons. I'm making the cookies first because it needs to go in the oven. 5, 6, okay. So I'm taking my flax meal and I'm just putting it in my hot water. And then we need to set this aside for a couple minutes so that it'll congeal. So you see it's runny right now. I'm just going to set this over to the side. All right. Now, so the energizing or the nut butter chocolate chip cookies, this is going to be something that is going to be good to have if you have like an hour before your workout. So it's got some carb, a small amount of protein. So you could either do like a protein bar, like a Cliff Bar, or a simple smoothie with fruit and protein powder in it, or make these nut butter chocolate chip breakfast cookies. And I made these at home and my husband's like, oh, I want these. And he's like trying to eat a million of them. I'm like, no, they're one at a time for breakfast. Okay. But they are really delicious. And so I preheated the oven to 350 degrees. Our flax egg is congealing. Now I have 3 cups of rolled oats. I like these Bob's Red Mill brand, and they're gluten-free. They taste delicious. And if you're making oatmeal at home, I would suggest making a batch and keeping it in your refrigerator, and then you could just pull from it throughout the week, and it saves you a lot of time with your meal prep. So that's the brand I prefer. This is the Bob's Red Mill. I guess I really like him. This is the golden flax meal that I purchased as well. And I'm choosing almond butter for this recipe. You could use any nut butter, but I didn't know if anybody had any peanut allergies. So I decided I wanted to use the almond butter for this. And when you're looking at the grocery store, you really want to pay attention to the ingredient list, because if you look at some of these butters, it's crazy how much additional things that they put in it. Lots of sugar, lots of oils. So you want to try and get them as minimal ingredients as possible. For peanut butter, I think I found 2 brands that have just peanuts in them. And this even has a little bit of oil in it. It's dry roasted almonds and some palm oil in this. I couldn't find one with just almonds in it, but this was the best choice that I could find. So with this, I need 2/3 cup of the almond butter. And it's pretty thick. All right, so that's about 1. And it is, man. What kind of workouts do you guys like to do? Yoga? I love yoga. I need to do more yoga because I'm so tight. Anyone else? Anyone train for any like marathons or triathlons? I've done a sprint triathlon before, and it's fun. It's definitely a little scary, intimidating getting into the lake water, but it is fun. And then a 1/2 cup of maple syrup. I was at the grocery store yesterday with my son, and he's almost 15. He's becoming more conscious about money because we talk about like, okay, is it worth it? You know, let's save for whatever you want to get. So as we're going through, he never had tried pancake syrup or any maple syrup for years. And I was like, you've got to try it. It's so yummy. Finally, he did. He's like, where have I been? And so I'm like, well, don't waste it because it's pretty pricey, you know? And so he was helping me prep and grocery shop for this class. And he's looking at it, he's like, what about that? It's half the price. And it was the artificial maple syrup. And I'm like, no, only the best for my baby. You know, this has a lot of antioxidants and nutrients in it. And it's actually from a tree. So some of the imitation stuff, while it is cheaper, you have to make that decision. Do I want to put more pure ingredients in my body because that's going to help me be healthy? Or do I need to settle and have less, cost ingredients, and maybe that's going to lead to medications down the road. So, okay. So 1/2 cup of maple syrup. Okay. And then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And I'm going to mix this up before I add my chocolate chips. I chose this Enjoy Life chocolate chip brand because it is free of 14 allergens. So, and you don't have to necessarily do that, but it covers my bases in case there's any food allergies in these classes. And it's made with dark chocolate for this one, 100% real chocolate morsels. But if you don't have any allergies, you can use the regular dark chocolate, whatever fits your budget. And I need to mix this all together. Okay, the question is for everybody at home. She was saying that she found that she had the Justin's butter or peanut butter or almond butter in her refrigerator, and she looked at the use by date, and it was from January 2023, and she wants to know if that's still safe to have. You what? Oh, you dated it. Well, if you, let's see, does it have, it should have on the top, it has the expiration date on it. So I would look at the expiration date. But if the expiration date was January 2023 and you still had it, I probably wouldn't, because nuts can go rancid and that can be inflammatory. So I probably would not. It's smart though to date your things, like when you're bringing home spices and stuff like that. It's really smart to date your spices, because these act like medicine. They have a lot of medicinal benefits in our herbs and spices. And I always say that if you still have your spice rack that you got from your bridal shower, time to toss it, okay? Because they really last like 6 months to a year. So don't go to those big box stores and buy the big thing of seasonings unless it's salt, because salt will last a lot longer, because it's just not going to go well and it's not going to taste as good. So it's going to affect your dishes. You'll think you're a bad cook when you're really not, you know? So yes, that's exactly what I did. He was saying, is it okay to freeze nuts to preserve the nutrients and extend the shelf life? And yes, absolutely. I freeze all my nuts, and they're very easy to get out of the bag. They don't like freeze together like you would think that they would. And when I see nuts on BOGO, because they're expensive, I stock up and throw them into the freezer. So that is a great tip there. All right, so I'm blending this in. It's like a sticky dough. And now I got to roll in my chocolate chips. So when I put everything out like this, you'll see all my ingredients all spread out already for me. That's called mise en place. It's a fancy term for everything in its place. And that makes you know, hey, I got all the ingredients and I'm not going to be like frustrated when I'm cooking. And it just makes the cooking process so much easier. So here I am. We got to have some yummy chocolate chips. And then I'm going to make little cookies with this. So, oh, thank you. You are the best. I'm like, why is this? You are the best. Here's a flaxseed. Let me show you what this looks like. Here we see my mise en place was over in the wrong section. It was with my salad over here. All right. So see how it got so much thicker? Because that has now congealed. So that's going to act like an egg. This is a substitute for 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon with 3 tablespoons of hot water. So I'm gonna do that. That's much. You could do that. Yeah, you could do that too. Hi. And this was just an option that didn't have any animal protein in it. So that's why I used the alternative. And you could also eat this like as a dough if you don't use a egg or egg beaters to it, but you could use egg beaters, definitely. I love to show new ways to try different things that maybe you haven't tried before, because people get scared. Like I was here one time and they're like, how many people have tried tofu before? And most of the people had not. I'm like, well, you are today. And then on the menu, we were having an event here. There was salmon, and I had never had salmon before, and because I don't like seafood that much. So I'm like, all right, if you guys eat the tofu, I'll eat the salmon. I didn't realize it was raw salmon, but I liked it. And you got to kind of get out there and try some new things.
Well, Allison, I'm going to interrupt you briefly.
Yes,
Our
please.
guest is here. This is Dr. Tara Moncman. Come on over.
That is okay.
Oh,
Hi, nice to see
forgot
you.
to turn you on. That would help. I turned you on. See,
I have a loud voice. It's all right.
We're casual kitchen here. So those folks at home, let me switch my camera on real quick. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
I'll go through the menu after we introduce you.
There we go.
Sounds good.
So you know.
Welcome,
I
Dr.
saw it.
Tara
Okay, good.
Moncman of Rothman Orthopedics. She's a fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeon who specializes in the treatment of foot and ankle conditions. She's a particular interest in minimally invasive surgery. And what's impressive, because we were talking this earlier, she was a collegiate soccer player. Where did you play? What college?
Where'd you go?
Gettysburg in Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Pennsylvania too.
There you go.
We'll do some PA stories later. Go Birds.
Yeah,
For anybody else at home. And because Allison was asking this, ultra marathoner. She's run ultra marathons in 5 continents.
Yes.
So
And
everybody,
explain what that is, so everybody in the audience knows how impressive that is.
Oh boy. It's basically doing a marathon a day for 6 days in a row. And you like carry everything you need on your back, except for like water refills. So
And you
pretty
sleep. Wait,
intense.
do you sleep in tents or
You
something?
do. You sleep in tents. You carry a
Wow.
sleeping bag if you want to, which I did.
Oh my god! And what temperature was this?
Yeah, so it just depends on where we were, but it was pretty hot. I ran in the Sahara Desert, so that was the definitely the warmest.
Wow.
So like I'm all about fueling your workouts because
Perfect.
yeah, I was just,
I'm
didn't
glad
have
you
the
showed
best-
up.
Best, I know. I would have loved to have this while I was out there. I had those like gummies, and like the like liquid gels, but
Yeah.
this is way better.
Yes.
But yeah.
Awesome.
Well, great. And she also, just so you guys know, if you want to catch up with her afterwards, are you the host of the Ortho podcast? Are you still doing that?
I haven't in a while, but yes, I did
Okay.
a little bit of that.
So
yeah.
new treatments
Very
in foot
cool.
and ankle surgery. So
Yes.
we're so excited to welcome her here to the Nutrition Theater for her first time. So, and we're just on the first recipe, so you haven't missed much yet. So if
Awesome.
anybody has any questions, and we'll let you talk just to get us started. You talk about you're an extreme athlete in the best way, but for all of us, why is it important to think about what you eat before and after you work out too?
Yeah. So I'm a big proponent of making sure that you are properly fueled for workouts. One, I think it's really hard to work out if you're not properly energized and you have the nutrients in your body. Even myself, if I like have a big like pasta dinner the night before and I work out in the morning, I'm like, oh, I crushed that workout, right? And it's really important. And I think from a health standpoint too, it limits your risk of getting an injury. And I think that's important for being able to carry on and stay active, right? If you're feeling lethargic, you're not properly fueled, then there's a higher likelihood of you suffering an injury, and nobody wants that. You don't want to come into my office, trust me.
Not at all. And maybe talk about what's your favorite snack when you're running your ultra marathons?
Oh boy. Yeah. So something like this, like I eat a lot of bars, but like I make these types of like oat friendly, like the refrigerated little balls that you can just kind of like eat on the go. I make those a lot. I love an overnight oats also. Obviously I couldn't do that when I was running the marathons. But I think with the marathons, it's different because you have to carry everything. So you need everything to be super lightweight. So it wasn't very tasty. Like it's a lot of like liquid.
Do you have to carry all your food during those?
You do.
Whoa.
Yeah, everything you want for the week. So a lot of like freeze dried meals, or you like just add water.
Oh my gosh.
Great. But me and my brother did it together.
That's a good bonding experience.
It was nice.
I'm going to put these in the oven right now at 350 and let those work its magic.
So I heard you talking. Can you just eat those cold too?
You can, because I didn't use eggs in it. I use a flax egg. So they are totally fine.
Love that.
Yeah. So you can make them into balls and bring that on your next ultra marathon.
Yeah. That was back in my prime.
And next I'm going to be doing the energized oats recipe. Could you wash this when you have? All right.
So, when you're heading back over there, we have a question in the chat. Someone's asking if the recipe mentions 2 eggs, is using eggs for cookies, should use 2 eggs. It was mentioned.
Oh, I'm
instead
double
of the flax eggs.
when for the recipes that you're going to get, it's going to be 1 egg. If you're going to use a real egg, I doubled the recipe. So it's whenever you're substituting a flax meal egg, it's 1 tablespoon of flax meal and 3 tablespoons of warm water. So for this, I doubled it. So I had double the volume. All right. So next I'm going to be making the energizing overnight oats. And I did pre-make these for our guests in the theater because it has to sit in the fridge for 5 hours. And this is something that I would say you could do, 30 minutes before, or wait, hold on. You're going to be doing this if you're working out in like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. So it's got the Bob's Red Mill old fashioned oats are in there. And I'm going to be making this right in front of you all. I like to use mason jars or save my old jars. This is from a mayonnaise jar. So I think it looks prettier in the cabinets, but this is great to make your overnight oats in. So this will call for, you can use any plant-based milk that you like. Soy does have more protein in it. I'm using an almond organic almond milk today. I like this one because it doesn't have any gums or emulsifiers in it. It only has water, organic almonds, and sea salt. So I always try to look for names I can pronounce on the ingredients list and the least amount of ingredients that are in the item, if possible. All right, so I need 1 cup of milk. And half a cup of my oats. So I'm going to I already pre-measured this.
I love overnight oats because I feel like you can do any kind of flavor. Like I feel like you can get creative. Like you have some fruit that's going, like it needs to be used. You just throw it in
Throw
there.
it in there, yes.
A lot of combinations.
I'm adding some chia seeds. I like the chia seeds because it has some healthy fats to it, but it also helps it congeal and get a little bit thicker. And we're going to add our milk and a dash of cinnamon and a little bit of vanilla to it. You can be creative with your different spices that you want to add to it. And I love the idea of adding different fruit to this as well. If you mix the fruit in it now, it's not going to last as long in your refrigerator. So you want, like, if I'm one to save time in the kitchen, so I'll make the base and then scoop out from it as I want to, eat it throughout the week. And then I could add different fruit to it. Okay, so I did bring a variety of fruit for you all to add to your overnight oats. And this I'm just going to put in the refrigerator. And every time I go in, I'll turn it over and, just to have it all congealed. And if I need to stir it up, because the chia seeds can kind of clump. If I really was fancy and wanted to mess up the whole kitchen with a lot of dirty dishes, I would have put it in a bowl, taken a whisk and done all that. But I'm not. But I don't need to be bougie. Yeah, I'm not bougie like that. I'm fast.
And Allison, how long can that base stay good in your fridge?
I would keep it for about 4 to 5 days. I'm always on the safer side. I don't like if anything is a hint of going bad, toss it. So.
And Dr. Moncman, for an average workout, not a Dr. Moncman workout, but for an average workout, is it important to fuel beforehand? Because there's a lot of people that say, oh, I'd rather not eat before I work out and wait till afterwards. I mean, what are your sort of philosophy on, I guess it depends probably, but
yeah, it depends on the workout. I think carbs are like kind of the most important thing because that's what you burn through easier before your workout, right? So fats and proteins take a lot longer time to digest. So while they might make you feel full, they're not really as useful before a workout. So I think like a banana, right? If you want something simple and easy, or like half a granola bar, or these bites that we make, right? That's probably best, but you want it more carb heavy. And then afterwards is when you add the protein. So if you want a little, like a protein shake, and then you can add some peanut butter. I use peanut butter a lot for my like post workouts. I think it's an easy way to get carbs and protein combined.
Chocolate milk is also pretty good
chocolate
too.
Milk.
And that's who doesn't like chocolate milk?
Yes.
Hershey's has got so much junk in it. What do you recommend?
Yeah.
I feel like they make some
for those at home, sorry, the question is
like,
about healthier chocolate. If you guys can repeat the question so folks
how to make chocolate milk healthier.
Yeah, versus the Hershey's one that you find in the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the labels of, I don't know off the top of my head which one would be the best powder. I know back when I was working at the hospital, it was like Carnation Instant Breakfast Powder, but I'd have to look at the label to see. You want to try and avoid artificial sweeteners because they can wreck with your gut microbiome, and they sneak that stuff in a lot of things. Like BOGO right now is Hershey syrup, and my husband is a chocoholic and I can't train him. I'm working on it. It's been a few years, but he's like, oh, let's get this. And I'm like, no, let's get the simple one. And so we looked at the labels and it had sugar alcohol in it, and that can lead to diarrhea if you take too much. And so, and you can find like sugar alcohol in frozen meat food. I was so excited when I found a chicken teriyaki for my husband. I'm like, this is a great alternative than you eating Chinese all the time, going out. But when you looked at the label, it was loaded with sugar alcohol. I'm like, okay, forget that. But I would look at the label. You don't want the artificial sweeteners and added sugar. You want to pay attention to not having too much added sugar.
And someone at home is asking about chocolate almond milk. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say that, I think like a chocolate almond milk. Yeah, there's chocolate almond. I think they make like chocolate coconut milk too, which
Mhm.
is like
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah. And it's just a little bit of added sweetener. So
You could pass the berries. I chopped up some peaches, apples, and blueberries. I just cut the apple up and I did squeeze a little bit of lemon juice so it didn't get too brown. So if you want to pass this, and if you want any of it, and then onto your overnight oats. Yeah. Sugar, alcohol. Erythritol is one word for it. And that I've been finding in a lot of food products lately, and I'm frustrated. It's hard to navigate sometimes. Let me.
yes. Uh-huh. It's easy to like eat a lot of nuts and then all of a sudden it's like 1,000 calories later. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Uh-huh. Do you like, yeah. Do you like protein shakes or do you want something more like whole food? Uh-huh.
I'm sorry to interrupt you because
Yeah.
the folks at home can't hear. So the question is
Okay.
about how to,
Yeah.
for
I'm gonna
after
skip
you work
here,
out,
and you can-
what's
Yep.
the best to eat for maintaining weight loss, right? Or for helping with weight loss and not for maintaining weight. Okay. Not losing
Yeah.
calories, replacing calories.
So I think
Sorry to interrupt. There
the
you go.
big thing is, no worries, is adding protein
Yeah.
after the workout. So whether it's in a protein shake, whether it's like toast with a little banana and peanut butter, or even like a piece of grilled chicken and some vegetables, I think the key is protein
Mhm.
because that's going to be slower to break down. So it'll keep you more full longer. And it'll also kind of keep you fueled for longer.
Yeah.
So
And what kind of workouts do you like to do? Yeah. Okay, so treadmill. It's really important to use, we're talking about what kind of workout she's doing, a lot of cardio. As we get older, we have age-related muscle loss. It's called sarcopenia. So it's really important to fit in muscle, like resistance training, and don't be afraid of the weights. A lot of times women are intimidated by going into a gym and getting in with the weights and stuff, but it's really important as we age to maintain the muscle that we have. And when we lose muscle, fat goes in its place, and fat is not as metabolically active as our muscle is. So it actually slows your metabolism down. So like I see clients that have had a history of yo-yo dieting where they lose a lot of muscle mass, fat goes in its place, and then their metabolism slower and slower and slower. So you really want to try and incorporate some muscle building activities, weight-bearing exercise. And when you break down your muscle, you need to replenish it with protein and the amino acids from the protein to help build it back up. So that is important.
yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I mean, should I force myself?
Repeat the question.
Yeah, so she's asking if she's not hungry in the morning and she does a lot. She does yoga, strength, and cardio for her workouts, and whether she should force herself to eat. I don't think you need to force yourself to eat, but I think it's something that you can probably gradually get used to. If you start out maybe just like having a bite of banana on your drive over, right? And then I think you'll eventually kind of stimulate your appetite if that becomes habit. Do you feel like you have enough energy for your workouts, or do you feel like you're kind of pushing through it and it's tough? Yeah. So you may not be hungry, but your body's probably telling you that you do need a little fuel. So yeah, just like fruit, half a piece of toast, granola bar, Even like a little coffee with whole milk.
Yeah. And when you do live close to here? Okay, so have something portable that you can eat on your way in. Because you'll find that you actually can perform so much better when you're actually feeding yourself and giving yourself enough energy to perform all that you want to do when you get here.
Yeah. And your workouts you'll notice they'll get better.
Yeah.
Like you'll find that you have more energy and you'll be able to actually get more out of them. And so.
Yeah. And like I love the banana idea because it's
Yeah.
portable.
That's like my go-to.
easy.
It's
Yeah.
so easy.
So
Yeah.
easy, and it's going to be used quickly. So if you woke up, an hour before you leave the house, then, by then you might have a little bit of an appetite.
It's got a little potassium in it.
Yeah.
I mean, win.
Yes. Okay. Next, I'm going to be
Oh,
making
do you have a question?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You mentioned 8 muscle loss.
Mm-hmm.
That's strength training. First that.
Yeah, strength training is
Mhm.
great. Even in my like highest of cardio days, I still did strength training at least 2 times a week. Because you have to maintain that muscle.
Yeah.
It's really important. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's why we want to encourage people to get to the gym, find ways, even doing yard work and stuff like that. You're lifting and moving things. People that garden, they're lifting up heavy bags of soil and composting and stuff like that. So, all right. So next I'm going to be making the chickpea salad sandwich with dried cranberries and apple. This would be a good post-workout lunch. It's got a combination of protein, and the protein is going to be coming from our chickpeas, but it's also going to be coming from yogurt and cottage cheese. Because typically when we make, like, say, a chicken salad or a tuna salad, you're mixing it with mayonnaise, right? Lots of fat, lots of oils, but mixing it with a combo of the yogurt and the cottage cheese boosts the protein intake, and it tastes delicious. Today I chose to do a whole food plant-based menu, so that's why we're adding in the beans, because that's not something typically people are doing. So I want people to experience a new way to get more plant-based proteins into their diet. And studies show that if you supplement half your animal protein with plant-based proteins, it's going to reduce your blood pressure. So if that's an issue with you, and it's also another way to get more plants in. We want 30 different plants in a week for our diet, so help support our gut microbiome. So at the end of this, we're going to count how many plant-based sources we had in just today, because when I say 30, people freak out. They're like, that's way too much, but they'll be surprised at how much plants they actually are consuming. Yes. Yes. She said, can I sub the cottage cheese yogurt mix for mayonnaise and anything, like meaning like a tuna salad, chicken salad? What else? That's where I typically would use, or like an egg salad, like
Potato salad.
as a spread. I've seen like some people do cottage cheese on toast and then put an egg on top.
or an herb, some kind of herb
Yeah,
on there. Yeah.
yeah.
Salt and pepper. Yeah.
Tomatoes. The other day I had a little bit of I had not enough protein in my meat sauce, but I had some plain spaghetti sauce, and I'm thinking, how could I increase the protein? I'm like, I got some cottage cheese, so I put that in the blender with the plain sauce and made it it looks like a vodka sauce, and then added that to my bolognese. So I bumped up the protein and used what I had.
With sour cream too. I use Greek
Yeah.
yogurt a lot instead of sour cream.
Me too.
And that's like, in like sauces, and you can't really tell
Yeah,
the
it's
difference.
very
And you
good.
get so much. I love this brand.
Me too.
Yeah, it's the best.
And it has a lot of protein in it as well. So,
Yeah, it's good.
So when you swap out the sour cream for yogurt, you're boosting your protein intake, which is important. And as we get older, we need more protein. So because we need to keep those muscles, and protein helps with the muscle repair and things like that. I want to show you real quick how to cut and use the knife properly. So you don't want to go like this, because you can slip and cut yourself. You want to hold it at the base and grip it this way, and use the claw method and put your fingers in, because you don't want to end up in the emergency room. And you just make some slices like that. You always want to make sure you have a flat edge. Like I cut this in half, so it wasn't wobbly. And so I just really want to show you how to use a knife. But
Make sure it's sharp.
That's the key.
Yep.
And there's a guy at the farmer's market. His name is Grumpy, and he is the knife sharpening guy. And so when I went there, I brought all my knives, and they were really dull. Like I hadn't sharpened them ever, and it was probably 15 years after I got them. And he's like, "You're making your knives dull because you're scraping it on the cutting board. You need to get one of these pastry scrapers, and then you can pick it up like this and not ruin the blade." Now, rumor has it Bass Pro Shops sharpens your knives for free. I haven't confirmed that. I don't know if it's my husband trying to get me to Bass Pro Shops or not, but that's the rumor on the street. So, all right. So with this, I'm going to be mixing our ingredients. I need to actually take the chickpeas and grind them up. So I'll switch spots with you.
Got it.
I took the garbanzo beans or chickpeas and I strained them. I got the low sodium chickpeas and I rinsed them in water. I like this. I'm a kitchen gadget girl. Okay. So this is awesome. You put it, you take the top off, you put it on there, and then you could just pour the liquid out. It's great. So you don't have any lost garbanzos.
That's nice.
I put a paper towel. I didn't want to put it in a big bowl because it'd be hard to manage pouring it in here. So this is new for me. I just put a paper towel on there and put it upside down. So hopefully I don't lose any of these beans as I flip it. All right. That's a good one. At home, what I'll do if I want I would like to roast chickpeas because they taste great as a snack instead of like nuts, or because you could go crazy and overboard eating a million nuts and it's a lot of extra calories. I also use them as croutons. So I will take my garbanzo beans and put them in a clean towel and pour them on there to get all the moisture off. And that makes them more crispy. So I need to quickly pulse the garbanzos in here. Oh. What'd you guys think of the overnight oats?
While she's doing that, we had a question actually in the chat about going back to the banana conversation. Somebody has diabetes and they're wondering if they should stick to half a banana at a time in that case for the workouts.
Half a banana is a serving of a carb exchange. So
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, half a banana
Probably.
fine.
Yeah.
And it also it's so hard because it depends on what workouts you're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
it's just like if you're going out running like she does, it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, I'm going to make it noisy in here for a second. Sorry. All right. So I just pulse this so it's just kind of my buzzer's going off. So it's just a little bit chopped up. And I'm going to put this in here. Well, let me get the food out. I don't want to rush. I have my buzzer going off. I need.
Well, Dr. Monson, when she's doing that,
Yeah.
we're talking about how important it is to fuel before workouts. And I think a lot of people you see are coming to you after an injury.
Yes.
And I don't think people make the correlation between nutrition and injury recovery. What do you talk to your patients about when they're recovering from an injury?
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. So when you're recovering, right, it's usually because let's say you tore a muscle or a ligament or even had a fracture, right? And let's say you didn't need surgery for any of those things. You're now relying on your body to heal, right? So you need the body swells to heal, right? So you get inflammation around, let's say, your ankle when you break your ankle. And everyone gets very concerned that my ankle's still swollen, but it's actually your body sending a lot of blood and nutrition factors, right? And healing factors to the ankle to heal. So if you're not fueling appropriately, you're not getting those nutrition, you're not getting enough nutrition and building blocks to basically heal your bone and heal your muscle. So I always tell patients, if you're not on vitamin D or calcium citrate supplement, just get on it. Unless you have a medical contraindication. And I say up your protein and just try to get as much calcium as you can throughout your diet. And I think if you think about it, it's pretty easy. You just have to kind of pay attention and look at the labels and make an effort.
Mm-hmm.
But big fan of trying to get protein into every meal and snack that you have when you're trying to recover.
Yeah. And also protein helps stabilize your blood sugar and it keeps you full longer. So it is important to try and get protein with every single meal and snack throughout the day. I always say, like, you don't want to have naked carbs. You want to add like a protein to it to anchor it, or a healthy fat sometimes. All right. So I added, yes. He was asking about the cholesterol issue with the cottage cheese and yogurt. So this is only 10 milligrams, which is low. And this has 15, very low. So it's fine. All right. So I added our apple. I'm going to add some carrots. Our chickpeas also have a lot of fiber in it. So 1 cup of chickpeas is 12.5 grams of fiber and 14.5 grams of protein. Scallions. Oh, I told you I was the kitchen gadget girl. Here's my favorite scissors to cut up our herbs. So these are scallions or green onions. Yesterday, I cut these and I put this back in the water. You could see that it's sprouting again. So that means that you can regrow it on your kitchen counter and get more life out of your scallions. So, and then these scissors, you can just easily cut your herbs, and the lid even comes with a little tool to clean the blade.
That's
So
awesome.
I love it.
Where do you get all your gadgets? Amazon.
Amazon, and I have an email. I sent out a paper for you to sign up for my email list. I send out an email every Tuesday with a Tasty Tuesday recipe, and I'm gonna send you all a follow-up email with my Amazon store of all my favorite kitchen gadgets. And we have a link in the chat for anybody that wants to sign up for that as well. And I'll also include an ebook of some yummy, delicious recipes to go along with this. And you'll get the recording and the recipes from today in that email. So how cool is that?
Yeah.
All right, so scallions. I like this dish because it's got so much color and texture. So we got the carrots and the scallions. We're going to be adding some nuts. The walnuts are a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. And then we're going to add some low sugar craisins. So dried fruit tends to have a lot of sugar in it. So I cut the recipe back a little bit with how much the dried cranberries that they were adding. And I chopped these up so that it would be more dispersed. So you get more of the flavor throughout the dish. And my buzzer's going off, so I need to check those cookies. Hold on.
Sure. It can, yeah, especially if you have proteins with like a red meat protein that has more iron in it. But eggs, yeah, eggs have iron. There's a lot of proteins with iron, and it can help. If you have anemia, that sometimes that requires a medication. So I wouldn't say it can completely solve the problem, but it can definitely help.
I would also avoid dairy when you're eating your iron sources because calcium inhibits iron absorption. You really want to have a vitamin C source. So that will help with more absorption.
And good leafy greens actually are good for iron, like spinach, kale. What else? Yeah, so spinach. Is really good. Kale, I think.
Yeah.
Most dark greens. Yeah, Swiss chard.
I have are you interested? I just found a plant sources of good sources of iron, because that's typically vegans and vegetarians are more concerned about that. So I can include that in the email if that's something you're interested in.
They smell great.
Gotta wait for
right?
dessert
And that's
time.
easy. You just take that in the morning and it's like delicious. You're eating in the car. It's like having dessert, for breakfast, and it fuels your workout.
So Allison, as you're scooping that up, there's a question about so many cheeses contain a lot of sodium. Are there alternatives? When you look at this, is that one of those things with sodium?
Let me see how much sodium is in this. you could see I have old lady eyes. Okay, this has 340 milligrams and a half a cup. And if you're eating less processed foods, more of a whole food plant-based diet, I'm not concerned about the sodium in this cheese because you're not going to eat a half a cup necessarily in this dish. But even if you're just eating a half cup, 350 is not too high. So I'm not worried about that. But we also don't want to be eating a million pieces of cheese. Yeah. Okay. 65 milligrams is in this yogurt. So that's super low. So I'm not worried. But where we're getting so much of our sodium is from the processed foods that is part of the standard American diet, unfortunately. So if we're cooking more at home or being more conscious of our food labels and choosing products that have less sodium in it compared to other ones, that is always helpful. I chose this Good Culture cottage cheese. I don't have the lid right now to put it on the screen, but I like this one. It's got 14 grams of protein in it, and it has some probiotics in it as well. So that's the brand I like to get. You can find it at Publix.
And don't fuller fat cheeses actually have like less sodium because they don't have to flavor it with
Yeah.
extra added salt. So you might think that like a full fat cottage cheese, right? Or a cheese is worse for you, but I don't know.
I'm
get
not
full
afraid.
fat.
Yeah.
Because I think they have less additives because it's naturally flavored.
And you're going to get fuller faster too.
Mhm.
You're not going to, because it's got the fat in it. So I'm going to add just a little bit of salt for flavoring because we have low sodium. You need salt in your body. You can't eliminate salt completely. You do need salt in your body, but I'm using a low sodium bean. The cottage cheese is really the only other source of sodium in here. Okay. So blend this up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on some Dave's Killer Bread. Have you guys seen this before? I love Dave's
Mhm.
Killer Bread. It's so yummy. And I chose the Power Seed. I like that because they come in thinner slice or regular slice. So I always opt for the thinner slice. And this has 60 calories in it and only 90 milligrams of sodium, 3 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, and 12 grams of carbs. So for the diabetics on the diabetic exchange, this would be considered about 1 carbohydrate exchange. All right.
Looking good.
Yummy.
And I guess if you wanted to use, you could use the same recipe, but just add chicken if
Yep.
you wanted, or
Yep.
even tuna.
Uh-huh. I love this. And I was making little lettuce bowls with it. It's very tasty, but I have added some rotisserie chicken that I had left over to this as well. All right. So I'm going to be making little sandwiches for everybody and passing them around.
I was gonna say, yeah, if you're trying to limit your carbs, you could even like eat it plain or even like a couple little crackers and
And for after a workout, though, you do need to replenish your glycogen. And so you will need to have some carbs. So carbs are not bad for your body needs carbohydrates. So, but the types of carbs that you want to choose is what's important. So I like the Dave's Killer Bread because it has a lot of seeds in it, fiber, nutrition.
they even have a white bread done right. And
I get that from my kids. 'Cause,
yeah,
like,
yep.
if I put this anywhere near them,
Yeah.
they'll be like, forget it. But it's so frustrating. Like I'm the dietitian, I'm pediatric dietitian for 23 years, and I have the pickiest kids. and I got remarried a few years ago, and my husband is the pickiest and loves desserts. And I constantly find hidden candy bars and treats everywhere. It's very annoying. All right.
What is it different that doesn't? Any seeds?
Okay. I would do the white done right that she was talking about. the Dave's Killer Bread has the white done right version, and there's no seeds in it. I will give you, do you want this with just some lettuce?
Oh, no, that amount.
Okay. I'm gonna cut these in half. You're more than welcome to have more, but I'm loading you up with like a pre-post and a dessert or breakfast cookie. I'm like, I don't want to make you leave here gaining 10,000 pounds because I'm feeding you a million different meals situations.
Seeds. Seeds.
I think it can exacerbate diverticulitis. Yeah, if you have diverticulitis and it's like the small kernel, like they say you should eat popcorn, right? Because the little kernels can get stuck. So the same thing with small seeds. You're supposed to limit your intake. But I think, I don't think this would count.
Yeah.
I think this would be okay. It's a very minimal amount on each piece of bread. I think,
Like you don't want to have like
a handful,
like blackberries, strawberries, pumpkins, or sesame seeds. Like I wouldn't put all that on a parfait, say,
Right.
if you're having a flare up and not able to have the seeds.
But I think these are pretty incorporated in the bread, and if you limited it, I think it would be okay. But maybe check with your GI doctor.
And do you want it on the bread or on lettuce? I'm totally open for both. All right. Did I just hear a baby cry?
It's baby bunch is going on next door.
Oh,
So
I'm like, what's happening? Is that someone's
which is its
ringtone?
own sort of workout, having a baby, nursing.
Someone's ringtone. I'm like, someone really misses their child or grandchild.
Well, Dr. Moncman, do you recommend a different way of eating we talked about cardio versus strength training? Is there something what's the one or two most important things to have or to avoid with cardio versus strength training?
I don't think there's a huge difference. It's just if you're cardio, you're gonna typically burn more calories. So I think you can probably increase the calorie content and then maybe focus a little bit more on carbs because you're gonna need something to fuel you for a longer amount of time. And you're gonna burn those carbs up quicker, right? Your stores in your body are gonna burn up quicker. So I would say increase the carbohydrate intake a little bit and probably the total calorie content. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you.
And you also would do a lot with foot and ankle. What about, joints, especially as we age? I mean, is it glucosamine? Is that what I'm thinking of? Are there natural food sources for that to kind of help the joints stay lubricated and stay healthy?
I've been doing this. I listened to a webinar from 2 different dietitians. They were talking about collagen, using 10 different forms of collagen. So I bought this amazing product because I had arthritis in my foot. I'm a klutz.
Yeah.
So my orthopedic doctor is like, you're going to have arthritis, stop running. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, doctor said no more running. So I did get arthritis, and my mom suffers from arthritis in her feet. And it's so frustrating. Like when I was getting married a few years ago, she wasn't going to go wedding dress shopping with me because her feet hurt so much. And I'm like, that is not acceptable. I will drive you to the front door, but still. So when I started having the arthritis, I saw what my future looked like, and I was bound and determined not to let that happen. So I gave it a shot. I had already been using a different collagen, and it wasn't helping with the arthritis. And I found that the one with the 10 different forms of collagen really totally helped alleviate the pain. And I recommend that now to all my private clients that experience joint pain. And I've gotten great results back. And it's just, yeah.
Nice.
It's amazing.
That's good to know.
Yes.
I think all this like collagen, anything that's anti-inflammatory. I have a lot of patients that take turmeric, right?
Oh, yes.
I
was
was
thinking
turmeric
about
in their diet. Oh, that would be good.
I was thinking about doing that, but since I had already tested it out, I'm like, I don't want to just add it. And then what if it doesn't taste good during the class?
Yep.
But with my leftovers, I'm going to try adding turmeric to it.
Yeah. And the chondroitin glucosamine supplements, those, all supplements are not really validated in the literature, right? And they're not regulated. So you can buy a bottle of X, Y, and Z, and there's no real regulation we don't know how much is actually in there. But it doesn't hurt for the most part. So it's worth a try. And I think when you start using those things, you're kind of like in a new mindset. You're like, I'm going to be healthier. And I think it can almost like change your whole like persona, right? You're like, I'm taking my vitamins, I'm eating better, I'm working out. And so I don't know if it's the actual like supplement or just like that, right? The change in lifestyle. And I think either way, whatever is working, I would keep up with it, right? Like if collagen is working for you, then I would keep using it. Yeah. So I think that it's a little bit genetic, right? Because there are some that are run from,
I'll tell you
the day they can walk, right? And run all the way until, in their 80s, 90s, right? And they're okay. But others that you start to see the joints wear out, football players, you see the joints wear out a little bit. So I think it's kind of maybe how you treat your body, maybe off the field too, right? And same thing with fueling properly and resting. So I think having like a very active lifestyle is okay, but rest is also really
Very important.
It's equally important. And especially when you're having like pain or you feel an injury coming on, the injuries happen when you kind of push through it. Don't push through it. No, don't.
No.
Your body like it'll bounce back after a little period of rest. Yeah. But I think that if you like to run, I don't say stop running because of the fear of developing arthritis of the joint. But if running causes pain in your joints, that's when you start to cut back.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
But I was okay with it. I was never a big runner. I'm a cycler. I like cycling better. So it's better on my joints.
Yep.
So what do you think? Kind of surprised with the chickpea where like when I first saw it, I'm like, is that going to really taste good? But I love it. I think it's great. It's very refreshing. So how many plant sources do you think that I had in these recipes today? Can anyone throw out numbers? 28? Anyone else want to guess? 30? 20, you said? Okay. All right. So I'm going to count. You're going to say 14? All right. I'm going to count. And when I'm counting, the spices and herbs count too towards plants and the seeds. And, so that's something to keep in mind. So.
Well, it seems like a lot.
Oh my gosh. Oh wait, I didn't count those. You were almost exactly right. 14, 15, 16. Boom. 16.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So 16 just in today. Plant sources. So people always get so freaked out when I say 30 different sources in a week. You can fit it in. So just kind of be intentional too. What could I add to my plate to crowd out some of the not so good stuff, In 1 week, not 1 day. 1 week. Yeah. Yeah. 1 week. Yeah. Right. Yes. She was saying that she likes how we're eating the actual food, not like buying the vitamins and minerals in little bottles that you may see online. And food is meant to be flavorful and good. It's community. We gather around the table. My huge mission is getting families back together around the table for family meals. It's so important. And that's a good way to get your picky children and spouses to try new things sometimes.
Yep, that's what I tell my daughter.
Yeah.
You just have to try it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it,
Yeah.
fine, we'll get something different. But
Yeah.
you got to try it.
Yeah. And you also, your taste buds are constantly evolving. So just because you didn't like your mama's Brussels sprouts that was in a box that was frozen and boiled, gross, you might find that you love roasted Brussels sprouts, which that's the case for me. So trying new things cooked in different ways. I also found, like, I grew up I'm a native Floridian, and my dad loves to fish. I'll go fishing. I love going fishing, but I don't like to eat the fish, because my dad would show me, like, look what the fish ate. Gross. So, but I made it my goal as I got older, whenever someone's eating something that has fish in it, I will taste it to see if I like it. So I found that I liked raw tuna. Crazy. I like the raw salmon that I had here the other night. Triggerfish I really liked. So just, if you think you don't like something, maybe having it prepared in a different way, or maybe just grew up and you're old enough now and you can handle it. So
Well, I was saying, we're going to replace the plant source. Replace the animal source with plant source for the carbs and the protein.
for the protein, yeah. So it'll help reduce blood pressure if you add more plant-based proteins instead of all animal. Yeah.
Grammar school, they serve spinach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was
I bet.
some kind of vinegar or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, right. Worst things I'm saying.
He was saying when he was younger, he was having in grammar school they had spinach. Yeah, they had spinach on the menu. It was like with vinegar, and so he thought he didn't like spinach anymore.
What do you think of the Beyond
Oh,
meats,
I don't like them.
No,
No,
because like you personally, or you think they're not actually as good for you?
I think there are lots
they're
of chemicals.
advertised. Yeah.
It's lots of chemicals, and I know it's a little extra effort, but you can make your own bean burger and it's going to have a lot more nutrition in it. So anything made in manufactured in a factory like that, I just don't. That's processed food.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in a pinch and you are a vegan and vegetarian and absolutely won't have anything else, and that's the only option, okay, but I wouldn't do that as my regular habit. If you look at the ingredient list.
Yeah.
Yes. And right. And I was talking with a client the other day who had gone vegan for a while and then had added in more animal protein, but he was saying he really missed his cheese. And I said, well, what kind of cheese are you eating? And we looked at the labels of the vegan cheese and the regular cheese. The regular cheese was lower calories, had more nutrition in it. The vegan cheese is made, number one ingredient's oil. Yeah. And I'm like, don't have it if you don't want it, and you're not eating vegan for religious reasons or whatnot. Have the regular cheese. Food companies are really smart. It's marketing.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to buy their products. And they also know how to make it taste good so that you want to come back for more.
Yeah.
Sugar, salt, and fat. Yes.
Well,
oh yeah.
And Allison, though, you've done classes with tempeh
Yeah.
crumbles, which can kind of take on that meaty feeling.
Yes.
So if you do it yourself, like to your point about the black bean burger, it's better. I'm using air quotes.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you wanted to replace like ground beef,
right,
with that texture, if like you're doing tacos or something.
Yeah.
Tempeh is great.
I like tempeh.
Nutty and it's really good.
Very delicious.
Takes on whatever season you add to it.
What else? Oh, get the umami flavor of the mushrooms. Like if you saute some mushrooms and let that cool off, and then mix that with some beans to make a bean burger. I do like meat, so I'm a plant-powered dietitian. I'm a plant-powered chef, but I do like animal protein still, but I think there's room for it sometimes. And sometimes I crave a burger. Yeah. So I was looking for a way, how can I increase the veggies in my burger so that I'm getting better nutrition and not having so much of the red meat, but still getting the volume I think. So I think I'm having a big burger. And sauteing the mushrooms and some carrots and onions, letting it cool down, then mixing it with your meat. I've also add quinoa, cooked quinoa into it. Like, when you make meatballs, sometimes you'll add breadcrumbs. Instead of adding breadcrumbs, I will do cooled cooked quinoa because that adds more protein to it and it replaces the carbs from the breadcrumbs. So
Those are good tips.
what is your question? Like the quinoa or the tempeh. Okay, in our October class, we're going to be doing a class on soy and kind of debunking the myths of soy because a lot of people who here think soy is bad for you. Okay. So that's like when I was in college, that's what we were told too. And that the research shows that it's not bad for you. But so this radiation oncologist is going to come and speak with me about soy. We're going to be doing a tofu. It's made with tofu, but it's a queso. It's really yummy. And I think I'm going to do the tempeh tacos with that. So that would be a good class to come to see how to use some of those things.
And on October 18th, to plug another program we've got here, Katie Farman, a cookbook author, is doing Grains 3 Ways class.
Ooh,
and that
that's
program is
good.
going to be in the evening. So she's going to work with some ancient grains and do exactly, using that as substitutes for things as well. So she actually did one last week on vegan cooking. So, but we'll circle
Perfect.
back to that again soon. Yeah.
Do you want any more? All right. Mhm. See, people are going for seconds, and you wouldn't think. I remember teaching a class and it was like, had a lot of beans and the lady was like, oh my gosh, I was so dreading this because when I saw all those beans and then at the end, she's like, I loved it.
Yeah.
It tastes so good. I'm like, see, you just got to expose yourself. I don't, I made that so I will play around with it and I will distribute it. I made that like so long ago. And a lot of times when I get in the kitchen, I'm not following anything. I'm just like playing. And then when I need to write it down, I'm like, okay, now is the time to write it down. Oh, absolutely. Do you want to on lettuce? Okay. Anybody else? Whoops. Anybody? You want? You what? Oh, yes. She was saying she thinks it would be good on sourdough bread. Yeah. I love sourdough bread. Crispy, yummy. Yeah. When I made it the last time, it lasted for about 3 to 4 days, but then I finished it. So it could have lasted a little bit longer because the dairy is in there. So I would say like 4 days. But the next day, the flavors even meld even more, and it's so yummy. And I also, when I did this at home, I threw it on a bed of lettuce, just to have. I hate eating the same thing every day, so I had it on top of a salad the next day, and then I had some pumpkin seeds, and I sprinkled that on top. So
I've done overnight oats, and especially with Halloween coming up in the fall, where you take a little like pureed pumpkin.
Perfect.
And mix it in there with some cinnamon and nutmeg. It's like kind of having like pumpkin pie.
Oh,
yummy. It's so good.
Yeah.
When Allison, when you were talking about the chickpeas, I do that with chickpeas. I do pumpkin pie spice on the chickpeas and roast them and put that on salads.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And put it on a soup, maybe. Like, that would be
That's really good.
And put it out for your kids to try. So they.
Well, as Allison's going to pass out the cookies, because we still have those to go.
Right.
So just as we start to wrap up here, Dr. Moncman, just, one takeaway you can give people about, just to kind of help them feel empowered that they can control their, their nutrition and with their workouts, just, kind of what do you tell every patient before they leave?
Yeah, I think the big thing is definitely don't be afraid of carbs. I think carbs are really important. It's just a matter of what carbs you're eating. And just, look at the labels, right? I think when you're healing an injury, you should increase your caloric intake, definitely more protein. What else? And you will be surprised at how much better your workout is when you're actually properly fueled. Even if you're not that hungry, like it's easy to just take a little bite of a bar or a banana or a half a cookie, a half a piece of toast with peanut butter. It's just simple, a couple nuts, right? It's easy, and then you'll see your workout is so much better from experience. I used to be one of those people that thought you'd burn more calories if you worked out on an empty stomach, and like you see your workout just like tanks when you're about halfway through. I'm a big
I did that
proponent
this
of-
morning. I was like ready to, I'm like, I don't have much time. I'm not going to eat anything. And so, but I'm like, you know what? But we're talking about fueling your workout. So I'm like, I'm going to eat right now and then go into my workout. And I was really mindful of how much better I was doing and able to last a lot longer.
And then you're like you come out of a workout and then you're starving.
Yeah.
And then you're more apt to grab the bag of Doritos or like grab something that's not good for you because you're so hungry. So yeah, I think like consistency. Yes. Yeah. So even at work, I now keep like healthy snacks in my car because if I'm busy at work and I don't have a great lunch, when I get home, like I'm going to do bad things with food. Right. So I keep like healthy snacks in my car now. And just by having that, you just like control, right. Your appetite a little bit. And it's also better for, your glycemic index and all that.
So next time I see you, I want you to start eating something on the way into your workouts. And I want to hear how you feel after. That's your SMART goal.
Silver sneakers.
Is that, that's through the YMCA, right? Or is that here too?
It's through different fitness facilities.
We were talking about silver sneakers and Medicare. Can tell me more? Oh,
yeah.
Medicare pays for also like a pair of diabetic shoes once a year.
wow.
So there are definitely programs out there. Yeah, if you look into it, I'm sure you can call your insurance.
Yeah.
And to do a plug for here at the Center for Health and Wellbeing,
Yeah.
we have lots of free classes. If you grab a copy of the Wellspring on the way out and our monthly calendar, for example, we've got a Broadway burn class this week. You got it right there. We did basics of stretching last week, which is really good for any sort of workout routine you're going to do. We've got some great instructors we've got, as part of Crosby Wellness Center, we've got swimming classes. We've got 2 pools, a lap pool and a warm water activity pool. So each of you at your seats here has a Crosby guest pass. If you've never been to Crosby before, we invite you to come and check it out for a day. But yeah, there's lots of ways. And also here at the building at the Center for Health and Wellbeing, we have a free indoor walking track. And that is open to anybody in the community. You do not need to be a Crosby Wellness Center to use our free indoor walking track. Come as anytime the building's open from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Thursday, and then shorter hours in the weekends. But anybody's welcome to it. So grab a friend and come and get a cup of coffee, or we've got overnight oats here in the cafe as well. So, walk the app with some friends and have some oats afterwards. So.
Whoa.
Coffee and calcium absorption.
I've not ever heard that.
Me neither. What, that it
No.
limits it or?
Maybe too much caffeine.
Maybe too much caffeine. Yeah. But I don't know. I haven't
How much
heard
coffee
that.
are you drinking? Osteopenia or osteoporosis? Yeah. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, that might.
Yeah.
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 That might be it.
Yeah. The coffee can become really unhealthy very quick if you walk into some of those coffee stores. I don't even know how to order coffee when I go into Starbucks. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just do it. Yeah. It had so much sugar in.
Yeah, the
some of those things.
the additives, like when you watch them pump.
pumps, yeah. And you're using like keywords that you don't know what they are. Like the sizes are all off even, I make it at home. I'm cheap. It's easy. It's fast. 1 cup in the Keurig. And then I take either the almond milk or soy milk and I heat that up in the microwave and I take one of those frothers and mix that up and use that. It seems fancy, but cost me like less than $1. And I don't have all the extra sugar and stuff like that in it. And if I'm gonna do a sweetener, I do liquid stevia because stevia is from a plant. It's not, I don't use the Splenda or the other stuff because that's the artificial sweeteners I'm trying to avoid. Monk fruit I like as well, but I gravitate towards stevia because that's just what I have on hand. I like the liquid one. It's easy. And then I can count. Okay, I was at 5 drops. Now I'm going to 4. I'm trying to wean myself off because if you're not constantly like flooding your taste buds with all the hyper sweet stuff, eventually you won't want it. You don't need it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to wrap up with our at-home audience and we'll take a few more minutes in here. But thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Remember to do the post-program survey. And again, for those of us that joined from home, if you missed any of the beginning of it, we'll be sending out a link that has the full program from today, and it'll have a link to the